Transparency and accountability in Islamic finance. Transparency, honesty and clarity in all financial transactions. Key features. Clarity of terms. Terms and conditions of agreements must be explicit and understandable. Disclosure of risks and profits. Full disclosure to all parties involved. Prohibition of gharar, ambiguity. Avoiding uncertainty in contracts to prevent deception. Accountability. Taking responsibility for actions in alignment with Islamic teachings. Key features: moral responsibility. Actions must reflect ethical standards. Answerability to Allah, SWT. Every individual is accountable for their deeds in this world and the hereafter. Integrity in practices. Upholding commitments and ethical behavior in financial dealings. Benefits of transparency and accountability. Together, they create a just and reliable system that aligns with moral and ethical principles. Transparency builds trust between parties, reduces disputes and misunderstandings, ensures ethical practices in financial dealings. Accountability promotes fairness and justice, encourages responsible behavior by institutions and individuals, strengthens societal trust in financial systems. Transparency and accountability in Islamic finance. The diagram can include the following elements: transparency, clarity of terms, disclosure of risks and profits, prohibition of gharar, accountability, moral responsibility, answerability to Allah, SWT, integrity in practices, trust building, fairness and justice. Importance of transparency and accountability in Islamic finance. Today's fast-paced financial world. Relevance of ethical practices. In a rapidly evolving financial environment, ethical principles provide stability and trust. Modern financial systems often face issues like corruption, ambiguity, and unfair practices. Role of transparency and accountability. These principles act as safeguards against unethical practices. They ensure clarity, fairness, and justice in financial dealings. Rooted in the Quran and Sunnah. Teachings from the Quran emphasizes clear documentation of financial transactions to avoid disputes. Surah Al-Baqarah, verses 282. Prohibits unjust acquisition of wealth and promotes mutual consent in trade. Surah An-Nisa, verses 29. Guidance from the Sunnah. The truthful and trustworthy merchant is with the prophets, the truthful, and the martyrs. Tirmidhi 1209. Whoever cheats is not one of us. Sahih Muslim 102. Guided by principles. Outcomes. Establishes trust, fairness, and justice in financial systems. Aligns financial activities with spiritual and ethical values. Enhances economic stability by promoting transparency and accountability. Minimizes misunderstandings through clear terms and responsible practices. Practical applications in Islamic finance. Islamic finance incorporates transparency and accountability in its various practices, ensuring that all transactions align with Sharia principles. Murabaha, cost-plus financing. In a murabaha agreement, the seller discloses the cost of the asset and the profit margin to the buyer upfront. Takaful, Islamic insurance. Takaful is based on mutual cooperation and shared responsibility. Participants pool their resources together, and the process is transparent, with clear rules on how funds will be used and distributed. Sukuk, Islamic bonds. Unlike conventional bonds, sukuk are tied to tangible assets. This ensures that all risks, returns, and terms are disclosed to investors, aligning the transaction with Sharia principles. Zakat, obligatory charity. Even in acts of worship like zakat, accountability is emphasized. Muslims are required to calculate their zakat accurately and ensure it reaches those who are eligible, promoting transparency in its distribution. Why these principles matter in today's world. In a world plagued by financial scandals, corruption, and unethical practices, the principles of transparency and accountability in Islamic finance provide a much-needed alternative. These principles Promote fairness. Clear rights and responsibilities prevent exploitation in financial dealings. Build trust. Transparency strengthens confidence and mutual respect. Prevent corruption. Accountability discourages unethical practices like fraud and bribery. Ensure justice. By aligning financial dealings with Sharia, Islamic finance upholds the values of equity and fairness. A timeless lesson. Transparency and accountability in Islamic finance are more than business ethics, they are acts of worship. Muslims are guided to act with integrity, uphold justice, and benefit others in their financial dealings. Quranic guidance. Indeed, Allah commands you to render trusts to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice. Surah An-Nisa verses 58. Conclusion. Transparency and accountability are actionable guidelines in Islamic finance, shaping every financial transaction. These principles embody the justice, fairness, and mercy that Islam promotes. Ensures all dealings are conducted in a manner that aligns with Allah's pleasure. Upholding these values benefits society in this world and earns rewards in the hereafter. If you want to learn more Islamic finance, follow us for more insight.